With the recent PlayStation State of Play and Silent Hill transmission, we finally got a reveal of the much anticipated title, Silent Hill Townfall. Not only did we get a short teaser of what is yet to come, but also a deep dive into the development process and behind the scenes with the Silent Hill transmission. Today, we will look at primarily the reveal trailer and use information given by the transmission to discuss and analyze everything we've seen thus far with Silent Hill Townfall. In the opening, we see a CRTV radio playing footage from a radio frequency that shows images of a room with a lonely chair, an angle from the behind of a woman with brunette hair, and finally, a quick glimpse of the woman's face with her eyes closed. As the scene plays out, presumably, the woman seen on the radio frequency is speaking directly to a man named Simon, the main protagonist. She tells him that not only he, but she also can't stay in this room forever, and although it will be hard, he needs to come back to her. From what we can see, it seems that she's talking about this in a literal and figurative sense. When she speaks about a room, she could be talking about the literal room Simon is currently standing in, or the room she is currently staying in at an undisclosed location. However, this can also stem from a figurative sense when addressing this metaphorically speaking, as the room Simon is in is a safe space where he is complacent, implying that he doesn't want to face the horrors he has yet to overcome in his journey due to the guilt he has that is unresolved from his past. While this is pure speculation on my behalf, the main theme accompanying the trailer has a motif that sounds similar to that of a song found in Silent Hill 2 called Promise Reprise. If you were to slow the speed down to 0.5, the motif sounds very close to the one heard in Silent Hill Townfall. Take a listen and see what you think. The scene then changes to show a harbor of a seaside town. Simon is then seen pulling himself up from the water and collapses onto his back from exhaustion, taking a moment to collect himself as he continues forward. As Simon approaches the town, he says that he woke up in the water again, but this time, it's different. As he finishes his sentence, he finds himself in front of a message board that reads, "Welcome to St. Emilia." The primary location the game will be set in. The seaside town is based on the real-life counterpart, St. Monins, based in Scotland. Screenburn, the developers of Silent Hill Townfall, addressed that much of the principal photography taken in St. Monins was the basis for the inspiration behind St. Emilia, which is likewise also confirmed to be set in Scotland in the year of 1996. Afterward, there's a montage of St. Emilia that shows the city itself. Here, we can find a note on the door that reads, "Nothing we can do until help arrives. Please stay safe." A flyer that is hard to read, but seems to have a message that features keywords such as failure, stand together, Sunday, March 10th, and Town Square. A monument with a memorial plaque dedicates a heartfelt sentiment to those who assumingly passed away from a tragic event that happened previously, that says, "The heart of St. Emilia, for those we lost." Interestingly, this message seems to be the root of much of Simon's guilt, as he is implied to have a certain involvement as he's called back to the island to put things right, as he was seemingly a part of or a witness of this unknown tragic incident that happened a long time ago. Beneath the memorial plaque has various messages that have a theme that is consistent to the tragedy that happened to the town. After, Simon is seen walking inside of a room with the number 204. Which is possibly the room that the unknown brunette woman was referring to as the place she told him to search for to find her. This also radiates a familial feeling to the room Simon was in earlier during the trailer when he was picking up the CRTV radio, as there is a door behind him, which could be the entrance to room 204, and a desk nearby with miscellaneous items that is also seen from the angle he is entering room 204. This could also be Simon experiencing the supernatural effects of Silent Hill, as it's manifesting thoughts and feelings from his psyche that likely is a residue effect, projecting in reality from a previous event that was or is important to him, such as this room 204. The scene then shows Simon sitting on a bench, fidgeting with a CRTV radio, an essential item that is seen previously from the Silent Hill games. On the topic of the CRTV radio, this time around, the radio has a more nuanced approach to gameplay, as it's made to be much more innovative. The radio not only alerts Simon when it comes to the location of a monster's position, but also gives a visual, termed as screen burn, when it comes to a monster nearby. This allows for much more versatility to the radio when it comes to utilizing it as a valuable resource for Simon's survival. Simon is then seen opening a wooden box which contains a Webley revolver, a standard issue service revolver for the armed forces of the United Kingdom from 1887 to 1963. This likely will serve as the primary handgun Simon will be equipped with in-game. Simon is then seen viewing his attire, where it is shown he is wearing a hospital wristband on his right arm that states his date of birth, October 15th, 1959, which would make Simon 37 years old as the game is set in 1996. His blood type is A+, and finally, his full legal name is Simon Ordell. On his left arm, he is shown wearing an IV bag that is duct taped as a makeshift harness around his upper left arm, which has an IV needle connected to his vein on the front of his left hand. This likely implies that Simon was recently admitted as a patient and in hospital suffering from a recent accident, or a medical condition we aren't aware of that he may be suffering from. Interestingly, as he touches the IV tube connected to his left hand, a violent reaction happens that hurts him. Simon is heard saying, "I keep trying to fix what happened, but no matter what I do," which follows with the brunette woman saying, "You can't fix it. It doesn't let us change things." Following this scene, we get to see gameplay from the first-person perspective, with Simon carrying the CRTV radio and holding up to his view, showing a visual of the monster nearby. Interestingly, much like how the radio emits an audio cue from a radio frequency to alert the player, simultaneously, the same notion is applied, but with a visual with the radio frequency emitting static on the screen. In conjunction with the radio, it's complemented with the peek mechanic, allowing Simon to hide behind objects when alerted of a monster's nearby presence, to either evade or prepare to surprise attack a monster. After, we see a bright red light glowing from the street in the town, and a long corridor that simulates that of the other world. A dark oppressive reality that manifests the person's psyche into their own personal nightmare, reflecting the inner thoughts and fears of one's subconscious. The scene then shows an interior of a room with a monster sitting down on a bed that touches the wound on its chest, which shows an IV tube protruding itself out as a sentient object. Close by shows a tray of various medications that likely play off of the similar aspects seen previously, such as Simon's IV bag and hospital wristband, that imply a theme that has to do with health and illness. Simon is then seen walking cautiously in the streets of St. Emilia as he approaches a fenced gate which shows a monster nearby. The monster is seen bearing multiple buckled straps around its torso, concealing its ability to freely move its arms, while it has its head infused by a sheet of scrap metal as it screams violently, likely when it's alerted by Simon's presence. Simon is then seen carrying a CRTV radio as he uses it to visualize the monster's presence with the radio frequency emits, as the monster stands in front of him ominously, staring outside of the window that shows a bright red light that pours into the interior of the room. The monster seen previously is revealed with a better visual of its body. The monster is shackled by the aforementioned buckled straps around its torso that simulates that of a straitjacket that attacks Simon if a lunge forward, using the sheet metal to damage him. Interestingly, the monster looks similar to that of a lying figure from Silent Hill 2, which bears a similar design as it's also constrained in its body movement. Simon can then be seen parrying the attack by blocking with the wooden plank, to then immediately counter the monster's attack with a couple of his attacks to deal damage. The wooden plank is one of many different melee weapons, such as the steel pipe, Simon will have at his disposal during combat encounters. Gunplay is briefly shown where Simon is seen holding his Webley revolver as he proceeds to unload multiple rounds into the monster ahead of him. The familiar red light also seems to be present in St. Emilia, that likely appears to be depicting Simon's other world, which could see red as an integral theme to Simon's character, as it's been heavily emphasized throughout the trailer thus far. Simon is then seen confronting the monster with a deep wound implanted on its chest, which shows the monster opening its chest to reveal the IV tube, buried deep inside, to protrude out and attack Simon. The trailer ends with a title drop and the estimated release date of 2026 for when Silent Hill Townfall will eventually release. And with that is our first official look at Silent Hill Townfall. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth analysis into the revealed trailer from what we know and have currently with the information given to us. I imagine as the months go by, we will get a better grasp at Simon and his relation to the town of St. Emilia, and what happened in his past to make him come back, An overview of the first-person gameplay expanded upon with combat, stealth, and exploration, more various monster designs that manifest in the fog world and otherworld, and finally, the confirmed release date of Silent Hill Townfall. What are your thoughts? Are you looking forward to the next title in the Silent Hill series? Why or why not? Please feel free to let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Until then, I'll see you around that foggy little town of Silent Hill. As always, please have a great day, stay safe, and goodbye.